Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Vinyl Den, your channel for record collecting by record collectors. I'm Nick. It's Tuesday, time to talk about some new releases coming out this Friday, September 20th. I can't believe we're already almost to the end of September, but anyway, there's almost 500 albums coming out this week. I got 12 on the show for today. There's a bunch of links down below. You got links for the Vinyl Den Facebook group, for the merch page, for the Spotify and Apple Music playlist that I put together every week, and the Patreon page. So make sure you check all that out. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I release new episodes. Like I said in the intro, there's almost 500 albums coming out. I'm only going to talk about 12 today, though, so if there's something I don't talk about, make sure you drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to grabbing. And like always, if you're unable to find these in your local brick and mortar stores, they should all be available online. I'll put links down below in the comment section. You can always also go to the Vinyl Den store on Amazon. I've got all the new releases on there. There's pre-orders on there. There's vinyl accessories, all sorts of fun stuff to check out. I think one of the big releases this week is going to be this one-year anniversary edition of The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess by Chapa Rowan. This came out in September last year. It was her debut studio album. This is a 2 LP release. It's on My Kink as coral vinyl, so it's a peach kind of color. This thing's going to run $60 though, which is a lot for even a 2 LP release. This is a 3 LP release coming out this week. That's also $60, which 3 LPs I can kind of understand. But there's, as far as I see, there's really nothing all that special about this deluxe edition that they're doing. I get it. It's one of the hottest albums out there right now. Hit number 2 on the Billboard 200. Like I said, even with $60, I'm sure they're going to sell a lot of copies of this. But this is it's got a die-cut cover on it. It includes Mylar glitter star inserts. It says a limited edition, but I'm not sure how limited this album is going to be. Like I said, with as hot as this album is, I'm sure it's going to sell a bunch of copies in spite of the price of it. And then you got the new album from Nelly Furtado, 7, coming out. This is her 7th studio album, so of course they're going to name it 7. There's 2 different versions of this I saw. There's a silver version, and then there's a clear version. The clear version is indie exclusive. It's going to run you about $33 online. This is her first album in 7 years. I will say that I wasn't really all that impressed with her last couple of albums. But, I'd definitely add this one to my stream list. I know that, I think it was early last year, she said she was working on this album. She said at that point she had written like over 100 songs in the year and a half prior to that, and like 400 or 500 songs over the last 4 or 5 years. So she had a lot of material to kind of go through. I'm kind of hoping this is going to be a good album. I like some of her earlier stuff. Like I said, the last couple of ones were a little subpar for me, but like I said, I'll definitely check this one out this week. You're also getting the new album from Katy Perry this week. This is 143, or I guess it should be 143, because I think she intends the title to be like the 90s pager talk. For all you kids out there that don't know, 143 was code for I love you, because it was 1 letter, 4 letters, and then 3 letters. But at least I'm assuming that's the way she means it. I don't know if it's 143 or 143. I guess it really doesn't really matter. But this is her 7th studio album. There's going to be a silver version. There's also a translucent blue version, which is going to be the indie exclusive. This is going to run you about $33 online. This is her first album since Smile was released back in 2020. I wasn't a big fan of her last couple of albums. I know she's released 3 singles off this one so far. I guess they've done pretty well, but I haven't listened to any of them yet. She describes this album as like a high-energy dance album, which maybe kind of gives me a little pause. I like her first couple of albums, but like I said, the last couple of ones I haven't been a big fan of. I know she brought back Max Martin, Dr. Luke, and Stargate for this album. It's the first time that they produced one of her albums together since Prism back in 2013, which was a decent album. But like I said, I'll definitely add that one to my stream list this week. And then you got Forever by Cher coming out this week. This is a new career-spanning compilation. 2 LP release is going to be on clear vinyl. It's going to run you about $36. So this is 21 of her best-known tracks. Cher, she's had an incredible career, but she's one of those artists where I don't think I've ever listened to any of her full albums before. I think she's one of those artists that's I'm probably good with the just a compilation from. I know this is her first compilation on vinyl she's released since 1992. I don't have any of her stuff on vinyl. I might grab this one this week. You also get the new 3 LP version of Bursting Out by Jethro Tull coming out this week. Came out back in 1978, like I said, it's a 3 LP release, all newly remastered by Steven Wilson. The CD and DVD version of this came out back in June. You're getting the vinyl version of it this week. This is going to run you about $60. Like I said, comparing this to the Chapa Rowan release, this is a 3 LP release, compared to a 2 LP release, but I get it. Chapa Rowan is way bigger of an artist than Jethro Tull is. This is a fantastic live album. One of my favorite live albums of the 70s, though. This is all recorded in between May and June 1978. It was during the Heavy Horses tour. So when this album was first released, they had to cut, I think it was 2 tracks off it. There are 2 or 3 tracks they cut off of it because they had to fit it on 2 LPs. So this restores the original track listing, has those 2 or 3 tracks back on there. It also has an additional 5 tracks, all from the Madison Square Garden show. Like I said, it's a great live album. It's one I've loved for a long time. This has been out of print for a long time also. The last time this was on vinyl was, I think, 89 when this came out. And that 89 pressing, which is an Italian pressing, was the first reissue of it since 1983. So, long time out of print. Great to finally get a newer pressing of that coming out this week, especially with the Steven Wilson stuff. He's been reissuing their stuff over the last couple of years. So you got that coming out, and then you got Supernatural by Santana. This came out back in 1999. It was his 18th studio album. This is a 25th anniversary release. It's on 2 LPs. It's got to run you about $45. It's on translucent red vinyl. This is an Amazon exclusive, so you want to grab this. The only place to get it is going to be on Amazon. This is a huge album when it came out. By the time then in '90s came around, I think it was '92 when he left Polydor. By the '90s, his sales have kind of slowed down. He wasn't doing all that well commercially. I don't know if he was dropped by Polydor or his contract was up, but he left Polydor. Didn't do anything until this album came out. And this album just absolutely blew up his career. Sold over 30 million copies. It was number 1 in, I think, 11 or 12 different countries. Smooth with Rob Thomas. I mean, it's hard to turn on a radio today and not hear that song. But it's another one to grab this week. Like I said, it's $45. That's kind of up on the top end of my price range. I'm not sure if I'll grab that. I might just grab a copy of it on CD because I don't have a physical version of that album at all. You also got the deluxe 30th anniversary edition of Both Sides by Phil Collins coming out this week. Came out back in 1993. I know last year was the 30th anniversary, but there's always delays and that kind of stuff. This is his 5th solo studio album. It's a 5 LP deluxe box set. It's going to rate about $125 online. So you got the original album on the first 2 LPs. It is the 2015 remaster, so it's not a new remaster or anything like that, which I guess the 2015 remaster sounds really good from what I read about it. But you got that, and then the 3 additional LPs. You got demos, non-album tracks, B-sides, and live tracks. A lot of those were all part of the deluxe CD. They came out back in 2016, so a lot of that stuff has been available before. This is the first time it's ever been released on vinyl, though. Yeah, it hit number 13 on the Billboard 200. This is a really good album. It's probably his most personal album, or one of his most personal albums. This is one of those albums, though, that it took me a really long time to finally get around and check it out. Like I said, this came out back in 1993. It was probably, probably within the last 10 years that I finally sat down and listened to this entire album. This is a really good one. I probably don't need the whole box set, though. I'll check it all out because I think it's all going to be available on streaming. So I'll add that to my list to check out this week. Then you got The Outsiders by Need to Breathe getting reissued. This came out back in 2009. It was their 3rd studio album. It's the 15th anniversary release. This is going to be on translucent red vinyl. This is one of those bands I feel like has really kind of flown under the radar for a really long time. I know, so they're like this southern rock band, but they're also a CCM band. So I think the ties to Christian music really kind of, I think there's large parts of the mainstream that kind of have ignored this band. Rivers in the Wasteland is a fantastic album. If you want to kind of start getting into this band or want to check them out, I'd suggest checking out that album first. But this is another one of those albums. I might not grab a copy of it right away, but I'll definitely check it out this week. There's also Fleetwood Mac Mirage Tour 82 coming out this week. This is a 3 LP release. It's going to run you about $60 online. This is all recorded over 2 nights in October 1982 at the LA Forum. It's all newly remastered. It's never been available on vinyl before. So if memory serves me correct, I think this was Lindsey Buckingham's last tour with Fleetwood Mac, because they would have released Tango of the Night in 87. And then I think he would leave the band before they did the Tango of the Night tour. Actually, I think it was one of the reasons why he left the band, was he didn't want to do that tour. So it's kind of an interesting little side note on this release. There's 22 tracks across those 3 LPs. This is the one that hopefully it's available on streaming, because I'd love to stream this one and check it out. $60 is a lot for me to drop on an album, even though it is a 3 LP release. Then you got Chicago 6 coming out. This was released back in 73. It was their 5th studio album. I know it's Chicago 6. It's their 5th album because Chicago 4 was a live album, so it kind of throws off the whole numbering thing on there. So this is a Friday music release. It's going to be on metallic silver vinyl. It's going to run you about $38 online. So the funny thing was, when I went to Friday Music's website, not only does it say this is limited edition, it says it's super limited edition. So I don't know really how limited it is. They don't ever say on their website how many of these albums they pressed. But, this was it was kind of a different album for Chicago. This is a little bit more of a radio-friendly album than their first couple of albums. It sold really well. It was their second straight #1 album on the Billboard 200. It was a great album. There's also Hollywood Rose, The Roots of Guns N' Roses, coming out this week. Came out back in 2004. This is a compilation of early demos from the band. It's got Axl Rose on there. It's got Izzy Stradlin. These were recorded in '84 before they merged with LA Guns to create Guns N' Roses. So it's kind of an interesting release. It's got running $23 online. It's on red and white splatter vinyl. So this release, so it's got 15 tracks on here, but it's only 5 songs. There's 3 different versions or 3 different mixes of those 5 tracks. But you got Killing Time, Anything Goes, which of course was on Appetite for Destruction, Rocker, Shadow of Your Love, and Reckless Life, which was on Lies. I think it was 2014 when this got reissued last, or at least that's the version I have, is a 2014 pressing of this. And it's kind of interesting to kind of go back and hear like the early evolution of what would become Guns N' Roses with these demo tracks. But it's a cool one to check out. And the last one on my list is The Used MEDZ. Came out back in June. It was their 10th studio album. It's going to be on green and yellow split vinyl. It's going to run you about $27 online. So the 10 tracks that are on this album were all recorded during the recording sessions for Toxic Positivity, which came out last year. I don't want to call these throwaway tracks. I guess they're leftover tracks because they didn't make it on that album. But there's some really good songs on here. So The Used have been around for a long time. They started in like 2000 or 2001. Like I said, this is their 10th album. But it wasn't until this release that I actually sat down and listened to an entire album from the band. I mean, I've heard some songs here or there over the years. I mean, they've had some moderate success across their career. But I was listening to XM radio last fall when they released a couple of the singles off this one. And like I said, I thought they were really good. That's what got me to listen to this album earlier this year when it got released. And they're definitely a band I need to go back through and check out the rest of their catalog. Well, that's all I got for today, guys. Thanks for checking the show out. As far as all these releases go, there's only one I know I'm getting for sure. I'm definitely getting the Bursting Out reissue. But I'll definitely check out the new Nelly Furtado album. I'll check out the new Katy Perry album. And like I said, I don't have any Cher. I might grab that Cher release. Chapa Rowan, like I said, I don't want to beat a dead horse too much, but I think that's just $60 for that album is a lot, especially when you can go back and buy the regular version of that album for a lot less. I think the standard version is $15 cheaper than that the new release is coming out, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys are looking forward to. Like always, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you give me the old thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below. That's all I got. Until next time, keep on spinning. Peace.